Then Imam al-Barbahari rahimahullah continues with what's the next point here, point number 119. واحذر أن تجلس مع من يدعو إلى الشوق والمحبة ومن يخلو مع النساء وطريق المذهب فإن هؤلاء كلهم على الضلالة. He said, and beware of sitting with those who call to infatuation, shawq, infatuation, extreme passion, and beware of sitting with those who call to infatuation and love, and who seclude themselves along with women, and who follow a certain path, certain way, for all of them are upon misguidance. Shaykh Fawzan, Hafidhullah, he said in explanation, he's saying, وَاحْذَرْ أَن تَجْلِسَ مَعَ مَنْ يَدْعُو إِلَى الشَّوْقِ وَالْمَحَبَّةِ, and beware of sitting with those who call to a shawq, infatuation, and love. Shaykh Fawzan said, and they are the Soofees. They are the Soofees. So having warned you against sitting with the scholars of Kalam, rhetorical theology, he now warns you against sitting with another misguided sect, and they are the Soofees, those who worship Allah with innovations and newly introduced affairs which Allah has sent down no proof for. So they abandon the Sunnah. Indeed, they give no importance at all to Hadith, and they give no importance at all to seeking knowledge, and they warn against seeking knowledge, ilm. They say seeking knowledge will preoccupy you away from the remembrance of Allah. It will preoccupy you away from worship. The Shaykh said, and this is dalal, this is misguidance, because worship will not be correct, and dhikr, remembrance of Allah, will not be correct unless it is done in accordance with the book and the Sunnah. And it cannot be like that except through knowledge, except through ilm, and therefore they go astray, and Allah's refuge is sought. They renounce knowledge and learning, and they said to the people, occupy yourselves with remembrance of Allah, occupy yourselves with worship. Shaykh said, and this is nothing but misguidance, because worship and dhikr, worship and remembrance of Allah, will not be correct unless they are upon correct knowledge and upon following the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And if they are done upon other than knowledge and ittiba and following the Messenger, then they will be misguidance. And he sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, man amila amalan laysa alayhi amruna fahuwa radd. Whoever does an action which our affair is not in accordance with, then it will be rejected. The Shaykh said, so how can you know that this is something which accords to the affair of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, except through learning, except through acquiring knowledge? And he said, man ahdatha fi amrina hadha ma laysa minhu fahuwa radd. Whoever introduces into this affair of ours that which is not from it, then it will be rejected. The Shaykh, well, in the footnotes they mentioned the reference for these hadith has already preceded in volume 1, and we had there both these wordings are from the hadith of Aisha radiallahu anha. The first wording being reported by Muslim, hadith 1718, and the second wording being reported both by Bukhari, it's hadith 2697, and Muslim again is hadith 1718. So the first wording, just repeat what the Shaykh just said. In the previous sentence he said, quoted the wording of the hadith, whoever does an action which our affair is not in accordance with, then it will be rejected. He said, so how can you know that this thing you're doing, how can you know it is something which accords with the affair of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, except through learning? And he said, whoever introduces into this affair of ours that which is not from it, then it will be rejected. Shaykh continues, how will you know whether this is something newly introduced unless you compare it to the Sunnah of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam? So therefore it is essential to learn firstly, and that you do not renounce knowledge and seeking knowledge. He said, seeking knowledge is more excellent than supererogatory acts of worship. Seeking knowledge is more excellent, better than optional acts of worship. So the person who sits studying an issue of knowledge is more excellent than the person who stands in prayer for the whole night. Why? He raised the question, why is this so? He said, because he will be worshipping Allah upon knowledge and clear insight. This one who acquires knowledge, and then uses that knowledge for worship, he will be worshipping Allah upon knowledge and upon clear insight. And because of the fact that the scholar, the person of knowledge, benefits himself and he benefits others besides himself. But as for the worshipper who prays for the whole night and fasts for the day, then he benefits himself alone. He only benefits himself, and he does not benefit the people. So his benefit is restricted to his own self. So if you learn knowledge, you can benefit your own self and you can benefit the people. And therefore he sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, فضل العالم على العابد كفضل القمر على سائر الكواكب. He said, the excellence of the scholar, excellence of the person of knowledge over the worshipper is like the excellence of the moon over the rest of the stars. In a footnote they mention this hadith is reported by Imam Ahmad and Ad-Darimi and Abu Dawood and At-Tirmidhi and Ibn Majah and Ibn Hibban and At-Tahawi in Sharh Mushkil al-Athar, and by others besides them from a hadith of Abu Darda, and it was declared Hasan, good, by Hamza al-Kinani, and declared Sahih, authentic, by Ibn Hibban and At-Tahawi. And it's a part of a longer hadith of Abu Darda radiallahu anhu, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Man salaka tariqan yaltamisu fihi ilmah sahhala Allahu lahu tariqan ila jannah. And it's part of a long hadith. Whoever seeks a path, whoever follows a path, seeking by means of it knowledge, Allah will make easy for him a path to paradise. The hadith. And with regard to this hadith, Shaykh al-Albani rahimahullah, he declared it Hasan due to its support. Hasan, good, due to its supporting narrations in Sahih al-Targhib number 70. So having mentioned this narration, Shaykh Fawzan hafidhahullah, he said, explaining it, hadith, that the excellence of the scholar over the worshipper is like the excellence of the moon over the rest of the stars. He said, because the moon shines upon the creation and riders can proceed within it and within its light, and Allah puts fruits in order by means of it, the moonlight. and it has tremendous benefits. But as for a star, then it just shines for itself alone. Its light is restricted to it. Its light can shine, so a rider, for example, can travel in the light of a star on its own, contrary to the moon. And the Shaykh said, this then is with regard to the worshipper, and that light of the star is like the worshipper then, just benefits itself. He said, this is with regard to the worshipper who worships Allah upon the truth. Then how about the worshipper who worships Allah upon ignorance? And that hadith referring to the excellence of the scholar over the worshipper. I mean, the worshipper is upon truth, then the scholar is like the moon, and the worshipper is just like a star. The worshipper is upon the truth though. He's just like the star, benefits himself. And the Shaykh said, this is with regard to the worshipper who worships Allah upon the truth. Then how about the worshipper who worships Allah upon jahl, upon ignorance? This one, it may be that his worship itself is misguidance and is rejected for him. So therefore, knowledge and seeking knowledge is essential. And do not be deceived by those people who encourage the people upon dhikr, upon remembrance, and upon khuruj, going out to the tabligh. The Soofees call themselves the tabligh, going out, they say, to the da'wah. The Shaykh said, don't be deceived by those people who encourage the people upon dhikr, remembrance, and upon going out, and upon night prayer, and upon fasting, and who deter the people from seeking knowledge, and from sitting in the mosques to seek knowledge with the scholars. And he said, he's saying, وَمَنْ يَخْلُو مَعَ النِّسَاءِ, and beware of those people who seclude themselves with women. The Shaykh said, because some of the Soofees, they don't withhold themselves from that which is haram. They don't stop themselves from that which is forbidden. They say, there is no sin upon us. We are from those who are al-arifina billah. We are from those people who have true awareness of Allah. And they regard sins as being lawful for them. And they say, there are no prohibitions for us, and there are no obligations upon us, because we have reached Allah, and we have no need of worship. Shaykh said, and therefore they commit homosexuality, and they commit fornication, and they gaze at that which is forbidden, and they say, there is no sin upon us in this, because we are just looking upon the signs of Allah. They say this is just a case of looking upon the signs of Allah. Shaykh said, so Satan falsely adorns this for them, and they seclude themselves with beardless youths, and evils occur from them. They claim that they are the awliya of Allah. They claim that they are the beloved servants of Allah, and that there is no harm in what they do. Shaykh said, so look at how the servant can reach this level, and Allah's refuge is so in this lowly level. So do not sit with those people. He said, he's saying, وَطَرِيقَ الْمَذْهَبِ, I'm following a certain path, I'm following a certain Sufi path, contrary to what you find in the translated version, the correction of my mistranslation, by those who follow a certain path. Shaykh Fawzan said, a tariq, a path taken by the Sufis, and that's what's meant here, meaning a path taken by the Sufis. So they say take a Shaykh, spiritual guide for yourself, meaning the Shaykh of a-Tariqah. They say that you have to take a Shaykh who is a Shaykh of a-Tariqah, a Sufi way, which you will follow at his hand. And they say a person who has no Shaykh, no spiritual guide, then his Shaykh is Satan. This is what the Sufis say. If you don't have a Shaykh and you want that Sufi Shaykh, then your Shaykh will be Satan. So you have to follow a Shaykh, and you have to give him bay'ah, you have to give him a pledge that you will not depart from it, from that way. And they have foul terminologies and usages. So it is upon you to beware of them. They call the people to depart from the religion of Allah to the religion of Satan, and Allah's refuge is sought. But they don't say that, but that's what they're doing. What they're calling to and what they're calling away from, they're calling away from Allah's true deen, true religion, and they're calling you to the religion of Satan. Allah's refuge is sought. And he's saying, فَإِنَّ هَؤُلَاءِ كُلُّهُمْ عَلَى الضَّلَالَةِ. So those people, all of them are upon misguidance. Shaykh Fawzan said, those Sufis, including their common folk and their scholars, their murids, their spiritual heads, and their sheikhs, their followers and their sheikhs, he said, all of them are upon misguidance. All of them are upon misguidance. Their common folk, their scholars, their murids, their followers, their ignorant followers, and their sheikhs, all of them are upon misguidance, except for those who act upon the Sunnah. This one will be upon the truth. This person, upon the Sunnah, he will be upon the truth only. That's why Shaykh Fawzan, hafidhahullah, ends explanation of this point. And just finally, before finishing, Shaykh Ahmad al-Najmi, rahimahullah, he said with regard to this point, he said, this part of this section relates to the Sufiya, relates to the Sufis, and it is a warning against them and against their evil deeds and their misguided behaviour and their stupid positions they take. For their sayings and their actions are all misguidance and are filth and corruption. وحدة الوجود, everything in existence, creator and creation, are one. So he mentions from the most famous sayings of them, وحدة الوجود, everything in existence, meaning the creator and the creation, all are one. And ishqun kadhib, and false infatuation. And they claim that a lot of what they do is because they're infatuated, they claim, with their Lord. So they do crazy behaviour and they excuse themselves that we're like crazy people, we're infatuated. They said, and false infatuation and useless corrupt sayings which they carry from each other. So there is no one more astray than one who likens his Lord to a bride, as is affirmed by Ibn Arabi. And the greatest one, in the Sufis regard their greatest one, Ibn Arabi. He likens his Lord to a bride, a newly married woman. So no one is more astray than one who likens his Lord to a bride, as was affirmed by Ibn Arabi, upon whom be Allah's curses. In the footnote, they mention you can refer to the book Masra' al-Tasawwuf al-Tanbih al-Ghari ila Tafsir Ibn Arabi, book of refutation and explain the kufr of Ibn Arabi, this great Sufi, and the Sufi love Ibn Arabi, explaining his kufr, his disbelief. Very great scholar, the Shaykh Burhan al-Din al-Bukhari. So the Lord of the Sufis here is a woman. And you can refer to a smaller book, they say in the Quran here, you can refer to a smaller book with the title of the Sufis in the balance of the book and the Sunnah by Shaykh Muhammad Jamil al-Layni. Then Shaykh Ahmad continued and said, And those people who mention al-ishq, infatuation, in love of Allah, then this is just Satan leading them into kufr, disbelief, and causing them to fall into the quagmires of misguidance, which is such that there is no misguidance worse than it, and no other misguidance can even resemble it. So whoever makes Allah to be a solid inanimate rock, and a dumb animal, and the ground that is trodden upon, and a ring that's thrown away, then his disbelief is worse than the disbelief of the atheist who does not acknowledge Allah and who does not believe in His existence. So we ask Allah to protect us from that which they have fallen into, and to grant us refuge from the evil of their foul sayings, and Allah grant success.